Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of Slicey Boy Sunday here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host here, the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode of Slicey Boy Sunday, we are going to talk about the differences between access lock, button lock, and liner lock knives. Specifically, I have four of each on the table here that we're going to go over, and different specs and stuff about them, and what I think is personally the best among them, and what is my personal favorite, etc. There, and let you guys decide what you want to throw in the mix is what it is there. So basically, to start out with, what are the differences of what we're talking about here? What is the difference between a button lock, an access lock, and a liner lock? So basically, the big difference is this is a button lock. It has a button right there. You press it, it comes loose, and you can basically, get it into place. There's what it is. And of course, you depress it, and then it just pops back into place is what it is. Access lock, or crossbar lock, as some call them this, has little tabs on the side there. You pop it, it swings out, pop it back, swing it back. And then, of course, liner lock, it just has a little liner in there. Usually there's a flipper tab on it, and you simply, again, pop it into place. And then you simply pop the tab right here on the liner to put it back into a foldable position is what it is. So, yeah, that's the basic ins and outs of the things for those who don't know about these things. So, like I said, got four of each here. Technically, I have, when it comes to the access lock, I technically have three different ones, but I have two different colorations of the same company. Here's what it is, which are these two right here. These both are, I believe they're EMTH is what they're called. And they're actually nice liner locks. Or sorry, not liner locks. They are nice access locks. The issue I have with them right now, and I think this is going to be something that's going to be solved by just simply taking a little bit of oil to the pivots is what it is there, is they don't seem to want to open or close completely is what it is at any given time when you're actually pulling tabs on them. And that is one caveat that I will, say on these ones. That being said, pretty much every single thing that I'm talking about here, except for the one, I think was around the $20 price point, give or take, or maybe just under that. So, but yeah, you see you have that one right there that's got the little blue G10 grips on it. There's what it is, or like light blue or whatever. And you got this other one that is from the same company that has purple handled, which is very nice. They both have a similar blade profile on them, I believe is what it is. Because like I said, I think this is pretty much the same knife, it's just different scale colors on it is what it is there. But they're actually pretty nice knives. And I think these are both around $20 is what it is. And what I'm talking about when I'm saying this is obviously when you're pushing the tab down there is what it is. It kind of wants to stick like right there is what it is. It never wants to go fully into like locking position basically. And I believe it's the same thing with this one right here is what it is. Like it'll do a similar kind of like fold. And it's almost like it sticks right there or something. So I don't know if that'll work with me just putting like oil in these or not, but so that's two options right there for access locks. Another option, which is what we showed to begin with here, is what it is. And by the way, these are, just to be clear on these are actually full liners in these for metal lining is what it is. It's interesting too on these ones that they also have like some kind of like a jimping on the outer scale thing is what it is right there. And then this paired EDC one, which I believe I bought this before 704 Tactical did his little review on this what it was. And I didn't think this thing was all that great personally, mostly because of the fact this does not have a full liner and it's just got that little piece to right here. And the rest of it can easily be, broken basically. And plus I think this is a kind of crappier steel is what it is. It's not D2, it's not like anything like it doesn't even have a name on it honestly what kind of steel it is on there, But I know for a fact, like some of these now are in a position where they are on back order because of that whole thing. And it does have a nice blade profile, though. I will say that. I don't think this is like really low, like 440 or something like that. I believe it is something between that. It might be like 1411 or something, but it's like one of like the lower end blade qualities. That's what I would say. There's what it is. So, and then of course it just easily pops back into place. And then the fourth and final one for the axis locks that we want to talk about today is this nice Flessa that I got a while back now. And this is actually, when I say this is nice, obviously it's because the tabs on it are very, very nice. It's also a D2 steel. And it has an interesting blade profile on it too, for that matter. Where it's got kind of that like eagle eye, hawk eye, whatever you call it there. So, and also it fits very good in the hand just because of the way it kind of has that curvature is what it is there. So it definitely makes you want to hold it in like an interesting way is what it is. And like just, it feels very good in the hand from that. Those G10 handles is what it is there. And like I said, with the other one, this is a better one where it does actually just flip right down. So I think there's definitely something with these, I believe it's EMTH is the company that makes these ones. Yeah, it's EMTH that makes these ones. To where it's like right here, it just doesn't want to like go in. You have to like press it in. So I don't know. It's just weird. But anyway, moving on to liner locks specifically. We already should begin with, we have this, I think it's a I forget what the company is called now. It's like Farius. Yeah, it's like something with a P. It's like PH. It's almost like Pharaoh, but it's like an A at the end of it. But the one thing I do like about this one is it is a very slim profile on there. Obviously, you got your little tab to do paracord stuff, but it is a very, very nice blade. Like this is the kind of blade I'd have with me, honestly, if I was just going to go out in the woods and have this to be for like either making food or like cutting a steak or something that I was going to eat that night. Like it's that kind of knife you would want with you is what it is. And I forget if this is D2 or if it's something else, but it is very, very sharp and it is very nice. And like I said, the slim profile is very, very nice too on that one. For other liner locks, this was actually before the current blade I'm carrying every day when I leave the place. This was actually the one I carried for about 2 to 3 weeks is what it is after I got it. And I forget what the company is called that made this, but this was only 16, I believe is what it was for this. And it has an interesting blade profile for sure. It's also the only one among these that actually has a window breaker in it. So, but yeah, this actually feels very good in the hand as well. And the nice thing about this one too is it has a little bit of jimping right there at the top of what it is right there. So if you needed to do like fire starter stuff, you could easily fold that back into place and then just take a ferro rod and just like strike it against it if you needed to. So anyway, the other two liner locks that we have to talk about today is another one from EMTH, and then this one from, what's this company called? It's like Oatlands or something like that is what it is, I believe. Yeah, it's OLELITANS. And this is made in the People's Republic of China is what it says there for the PCR is what it is. But this thing is teeny. Like this is like the smallest knife I have actually now. And the blade is not that big at all. Comparing this to the Pharisee's knife, it's like almost twice the size basically. We can do that the better way. There's what it is. So yeah, this thing is just a teeny little guy. That being said, it's also pretty nice though, for that matter, because again, just like with this knife, this is kind of the one I would take with me if I was going to do like just like meat cutting, and like having it for specifically to be a slicer for various like preparation during like any bushcrafting outing and stuff like that. It's also made a D2, by the way, for this. Then see the little D2 thing there in the what you call it. And I think this was around 20, if I'm not mistaken, as well. I know they have other ones on their Amazon profile that I think are like 20 to 20. I think it's like 23 to 25, give or take. This was on sale for, I think it was on sale for 20, and then it was like a 10% discount, so it was like $18 or something was all said and done. And I gotta say, the stuff it comes with too, like it's worth it because it comes with a nice little box here, and then it also has real quick. Obviously comes in that little container thing, and has your nice little cleaning cloth with it too. So pretty good stuff for sure. And then finally, like I said, for the liner locks, you have this EMTH, which the only reason I bought this for 2 reasons actually. I really liked the handles on this thing, but I also liked the way that the blade itself was, because it's almost like a meat cleaver kind of deal. The only thing I don't really understand about this is why it has like little like weird like Hawkeye, eagle eye kind of look to it, is what it is. Because when you look at the spine on this and how close that is, I feel like this could easily break like right in this particular spot right here is what it is. And then like you're still gonna have a knife that works obviously, but you'd have like this whole breakable part here is what it is, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me at all. Why you wouldn't just have that be like a full piece of metal is what it is then, especially with this being D2 steel is what it is. So I will say one thing though, this does have a very, very razor sharp point on it too, for that matter. And the reason I know that is because first time I opened this thing, I actually cut my hand with it by accident. Not deeply or not, it wasn't too bad either. It was maybe like a little like nick basically, but yeah, if you're not paying attention, like you could easily cut it. I think the thing that I think the real reason I got this thing is because it kind of reminds me of the like swords that they used to have in like Aladdin and stuff like that's what it is. So, but yeah, it does have a nice. It's like a nice little cool chopper thing is what it is on that. So, and you know it has its purposes obviously. But anyway, and then finally moving on to the 4 button locks that we have to talk about today. We have 2 different ones from Flessa. We have one from Parawan, and then we have, oh, shit, that just fell on me. And then we have one from this company called Draconair, which is this thing right here, and this has a bunch of stuff with it. If you will excuse me for a moment while we go dark on this one, I need to go grab that knife that just fell on me off the floor. So I'm going to have to reposition momentarily. Well, apparently when that hit, it actually hit into the position to where it would actually pop open the knife then. So that was interesting. But anyway, do this the right way now. I'm not cutting myself. Yeah, this is the Parawan. And I actually have 2 different knives of this company. This one is a button lock version. I also have a, I believe, liner lock one that I got before, which is pretty nice too. And the thing I like about this one specifically is how they have that finger cuts in there, because it just fits my hand pretty much perfectly like a glove. It also has a little bit of jimping right there on the thing. And you also have like a thumb stud deployment too, for that matter, if you want to do it that way. Besides doing the button, you can actually just pop it with the thumb stud then too. And it does have a very smooth action on it then. Then of course we got the black Flessa, which is nice thing about this one is it actually has a flipper tab on it to where you can actually just pop it open like that. And it's kind of a nice drop point looking profile on it. The other Flessa that is a green one also has a flipper tab right there on it. And has a similar profile, but a little bit different. Like it's not, I think it's a similar drop point, but it's like, it almost looks like it's a little bit less, I guess is what I'd say on that one. When you compare them side by side here, it does appear like the green is just like slightly smaller than the black is what it is when it comes to blade length. I mean, they're both very nice blades for sure. And the interesting thing about these two as well is like when you look at the difference between the two, obviously the green has like your little cutouts to do some paracord and stuff in there. The black has like just this weird like spine deal there going on. It just has a little teeny baby cutout right in the back. There's what it is. Yeah, there you go. Can't see it now. But yeah, they're both D2 steel, and I think these were right around 20 a piece is what it is. So, and just like the other one, they do easily flip down. The only one of these four that I actually have had issues with so far was this this Draconar or Draconator. It also does have a flip tab on it. And this is actually 14 C28N steel on this. But when you look at this whole thing, I don't know if it just doesn't have like do anything to it at the factory to like put any oil in it or what it was, because it's like right where the button lock is right here. When you actually try to push the button in, it's like stiff as shit. Like it's very hard to push in. Like it finally just pushed in there. But yeah, like it just feels like very much, and even like trying to just pull it out like that too, like it just feels very like stiff in there as well. So I'm almost thinking it's going to be something where I have to like put some oil in the actual button part of it there is what it'll be to get it to properly seat or something, because it definitely feels just like super, super stiff right now is what it is when it doesn't need to be. And it almost feels like it's not totally locking into place either for that matter. Like there, it seems like it's locked in, but then when you actually put it down, it doesn't seem like the button is like completely locked in there. So what it is, like it just feels like it's not totally together or something, which is disappointing, obviously, on that aspect of things. So I would say, honestly, like this one is probably the, ironically enough, the one to stay away from, even though it is a 14C28N compared to the D2 of everything else. There's what it is. But who knows? Like I said, these are all about roughly the same price. I think this one might be a little more expensive, maybe more like 25, honestly, when I got it. But everything else is around 20 or so. But obviously, it's got the full lock in there as well, or I should say full metal scaling is what it is there behind the actual scales. So as far as I'm aware, every single one of these is a G10 handle on these. And I don't know. I personally think my personal favorite of the button locks would have to be that Parawan, just because it is so like just grooved in my hand, basically is what it is there. And it just feels so good in the hand. And also, it doesn't hurt that it has a little bit of jimping there to actually do some fire starting with if you need to do that, obviously. So overall, I think of all the knives on this table, probably my favorite one of all 12 of these, though, has to be this guy right here. And I believe this one was one of the ones that was like 20 or 25, but I got this on sale for like, I think it was like 12 or 13. It might still be on sale for that, actually. And it's mostly because of that, like teeny, like little, like it almost seems like it's almost like a butter knife that they like sharpened into like a sweet blade, basically. And it just like that slim profile of like knowing I could use this to like go out there and do bushcrafting and like use this for like steak or pork chops or something like that when I'm eating. Just seems like it'd be very nice. So, but yeah, I would say these two specifically are my top two favorites, and then probably for the access lock is probably the Flessa then, just because it's the easiest to open and the smoothest to have and whatnot. It's also D2 steel, obviously. So my least favorite, I think, would have been obviously these guys, just because of the fact they don't want to close properly is what it is. And again, I'm not so sure if putting a little bit of oil in the crossbars there is going to fix it or not, but I'm going to try it at some point. Here's what it is, and we'll do a little bit of oil on that, give it a day or two, play with it a little bit, do the same thing with the dragon one, and see if that doesn't like help them out, if that be the case then. So, but anyway. I assume that's somewhat of what it is, but I also think it has something to do with the fact that they specifically didn't oil them at the factory is what it is. And I think that does do a lot, honestly, because I noticed some of these ones, like I know this one came in and had a little bit of oil on it and stuff like that. I had to wipe off when I opened it up, and it seems like that's why it's so much smoother than everything else. And I know there's a couple of these that had nothing on them at all, so I'm kind of wondering if it's not something like that, where it just needs a little bit of oil and just like a day or two to like wear in. Basically, is what it is then. So, but yeah, overall, like I said, I think some of the best ones are button locks, obviously. Also, love me some liner locks. Access locks, depending on how good they are, is what it is there. If it's a smoother one, like this Flessa one where you can easily just pull back and then simply slip open, basically, that's pretty good. But then again, you also have other ones that are just not anywhere near as good as what it is. And, you know, it's kind of hit and miss with those ones is what it is there. And really with my hand strength, the way it is with my arthritis and everything like that, I think that's why I prefer either a button lock or an access lock, or a liner lock is what it is, compared to the access locks then, because it's much easier for me to just pop a button or literally just flip a tab is what it is to open something up then. So anyway, but yeah, it's just some of the interesting things that I've acquired in the last little bit here is what it is. I don't know if I ever, well, we're still good. I don't know if I ever talked about this little guy. This is the only OTF I own right now, and it is a little scalpel. And I'll tell you what, this was the problem I had with this company. What is this company called again? Yeah, it's like Carresso Love. I know they make other ones now too that are on the market as well. Because then one of the ones the 704 Tactical / Gear was doing today, it was the popper was like right here is what it is. And it had a similar scalpel thing on there. The issue with these is that obviously it does not come with the scalpel in already is what it is. It just comes with that little bar, and you have to like put the scalpel in yourself. And the issue with putting these scalpels in, they do provide them obviously, thankfully, but you have to literally take a pair of pliers and like pull it across the actual bar thing here is what it is to get them in place. There's what it is then. And if you don't have a pair of pliers, like I would not recommend putting these on without one, because you're definitely slicing a finger or hand open at that point trying to get these things on. So, but yeah, I think this one was about 17 or 18 when I got it on sale then. And it's fun. It's a fun little OTF. My sister and I were having a discussion about this a couple weeks ago of like, why would you want a little scalpel like that? And I'm like, I don't know. if I'm out and about and I think there's somebody a tracheotomy or something like that, obviously I wouldn't do that. I would, if there was any kind of medical professional around, I'd hand it to them and be like, hey, here's a scalpel for you. So, but God forbid I'm out in like the mountains or something like that, and I'm with a friend or something that has like an allergic reaction. The only way to save their life would be, cut a little hole in their throat or something like that. Like, yeah, that'd be the thing to have with you, honestly, at that point. So, anyway, not that should ever be a option, hopefully, but because you'd be smart to carry an EpiPen with you if you had allergic reactions and stuff like that. That's what it is there. But unfortunately, not everybody is the sharpest tool in the shed, and some people don't know they're allergic to something until they actually get stung by something crazy or whatever out in the wilderness. So, and unfortunately, if your throat is closing up and the only thing you have was with you is somebody that has like a little scalpel knife or something like that, it's like, yeah, you got what you can do at that point then. So, I don't know if you guys are hearing that or not. My idiot fucking neighbor is I don't know if he's yelling at somebody in his apartment or what the fuck he's doing there. I'm pretty sure he's running a generator illegally the last day or two is what it is now. So, and he's been banging on the wall here that we share between apartments the last couple of days too. I'm not sure if he was putting stuff up or what the hell he's doing over there, but it's to the point right now, if he ever pulls this shit again, I'm definitely calling the cops on his ass for noise complaints. So, because he was the douchebag that was stealing my power that night. But anyway, so yeah, I feel like in general, like I said, I think the two that are the best would be those guys right there. You got your liner lock, you got your button lock, and you're pretty much good to go. So, it just all depends on what you want. Obviously, like I said, the Parawan one is definitely a D2 steel. And I'm actually going to look up this other one real quick because I feel like I'm not so sure it is not D2, but it just doesn't say it on it for some reason. If it's something else, it's something else, but I'm not really sure offhand. I need to go check my order stuff right now is what it is, and I will let you guys know momentarily is what it is. Okay, that would have been... Okay, so those are not that. I think at least one or two of the ones I have, I just don't. Oh, okay. I actually do have a different one of the EMTH ones that are a liner lock, or not liner lock, access lock. I just don't know exactly where it's at right now. Which should tell you something, and it's that I have too many damn knives is what it is now. So that is a problem too, by the way. Sometimes you just have way too many knives is what it is. So you're not sure what's where and what's what. So anyway. No, that wouldn't be it. Ah, here it is. Okay, that is D2. Yeah, this is D2 steel, if that be the case. So see about pulling this up real quick now. What it is. Yeah, this is the company right here. And these are right now 1973. The other ones like that are 30 something. That one is 19. That one is 30 something. And then that one's 30 something. They also have a 10% off is what it is there. So, but yeah, like $20 for that is not bad. And like I said, I think I got this on sale when it was like, I want to say I paid like 14 to 17 for it, something like that's what it was. So anyway, but yeah, it's a very nice knife though, I'll tell you that right now. Very, very smooth. Very, very, very smooth. Smooth enough to where I got one of these for my sister for Christmas this year. So you can even hear how good that. Because then let me go ahead and put that up to the mic there a little bit. How smooth that action is. Yeah, just pure smoothness, man. You couldn't ask for more on that one for, a $20 blade is what it is. So anyway, but just to be clear, so that we're all in agreement here, I don't intend to have anything happen today, but if something does happen today, I have no problem standing my ground if something happens with moron back here is what it is. So I'm not going to try to initiate anything, but if he keeps being a douche, I'm definitely calling the cops what it is then. So, but anyway, that's about it for today though. I will be back probably. I also do apologize for not doing Freedom Friday this week. I would have done it, but I got to a position where I was just so exhausted from all the trains coming in through this week is what it was, that my mind was just like out of it so much. I was just literally passed out for like most of the day on Friday because the trains weren't really running that afternoon. And I was finally able to get some sleep. That's what it was. And yeah, I pretty much slept like most of the afternoon to the evening. And then eventually it was about 8, 9 o'clock Friday night is when the train started coming through then for a little bit. And then I was awake for a couple hours and I'm like, hey, I'm not going to do anything. And by around 11:30, I was back asleep. That's what it was. So, yeah, it was not a good day at all then. So, but thankfully the trains are not going right now is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and probably have to do some laundry here in a little bit though. So I may do another stream, political stream based deal here in a little bit. That's what it is. And we just discuss political stuff going on right now is what it is then. A couple updates or a couple things. I might probably be a grandstand or something that'd be the case then. And then move on from there, talk about the shutdown and stuff like that going on with our government right now is what it is then. But other than that, that's pretty much it for Slicey Boy. Sunday, here's what it is, and I will be back. Like I said, probably a little bit here for like a grandstand or something like that. And then after that, it'll be, I don't know if Honda's planning on doing a chat tonight or not. If nothing else, I'll probably do like another stream later this week than after the fact as well then. And then, of course, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled program of, Fridays and then Saturday or Sunday, depending for this stream, obviously. But, yeah, other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, if you thought any of these 12 was a better knife than the ones I personally picked, that's on you. Like I said, I personally do like the D2 quite a bit is what it is, but if I can get this 14Z28 working, I would like to try this out for EDC for at least a couple weeks anyway. Maybe the rest of the year if that'd be the case, potentially. Or at least the rest of October anyway. So, but right now I'm just rocking that Flessa is what I got, the one that was the most expensive one of all, which was like $30-something for that Flessa. And yeah, needless to say, I'm definitely going to be carrying that thing around for quite a while is what it is. Because just like this Phariseus or whatever it's called, how smooth the action is on this thing, that Flessa that was 30 something has just as good of a smooth action to it then. And it also has obviously like that little window breaker and everything else on them too. So, and that's the only reason I'm not carrying this guy instead, is because with the Flessa having that window breaker, it's definitely a much needed ability to have that with you, or have something with you that has a window breaker on it, just because of how these modern cars are these days. You definitely want to have something that you can actually bust a window out. Given the fact that almost every single modern car made in like the last 10 years or so does not have actual locks on it anymore. They're all internal based. And so you can't just like pull up a lock and like, you know, kick a door open or something like that. You literally have to bust out a fucking window to get out of a situation where you could be, you know, veered off the road and you're in a pond or something like that now, or any of those kind of things like that. And God forbid you're a statistic like that, if that be the case then. Because I've seen way too many of those videos recently of people that do those jobs where they're doing like volunteer diving and just finding like people's vehicles that have been missing for 10, 20, 30 years, or whatever the case be then. Where if they just had a window breaker knife with them, they could have broken out their window and easily, you know, survive that situation, is what it is then. So I'm definitely a fan of window breakers for sure on a knife, and I'm also a fan of just having really anything with you that could help you out in that situation too, for that matter. So whether that be a knife to cut your seatbelt, whether that be a knife that also has a window breaker on it, whether it be having a knife and a window breaker too, as two different things, like a multi-tool, you know, that could work too as well. So it really just all depends. But anyway, that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out, stay safe, always be carrying a good fixed blade, or not fixed blade, always be carrying a good pocket knife, or fixed blade for that matter. It doesn't really matter, honestly. Any kind of knife works, that's what it is, you know. Obviously a good folder is good, a good fixed blade is also good, a good little baby neck knife, which is what we're going to be talking about next week, is another thing as well. Actually, you know, fuck it, we'll just do it right now. So I got a new Rit neck knife the other day. This one's actually interesting. It's got a little paracord on it there, and then I can pop this out of here. Yeah, it's like the teeniest little fucking prison shank ever. So it is nice though, because it does have me a little 3-finger grip. There's what it is if I needed it though. This was another kind of knife I'd have with me, honestly, to cut like meat or something if I was out in the wilderness, just because of that. But yeah, this thing definitely, it locks in there like crazy hard. And it's very, very difficult to like pull back out too. So, but yeah, this is another one of those little like $15 knives or something like that I got recently. So, which I do like the little Tonto on it there. But anyway, it is what it is. So I think maybe they fucked up how they made the sheath for this is what it is. Like it maybe just a little bit too tight is what it is or something. But like I said, it's got a really slim profile on it though. And I could definitely see, you know, just wearing this thing around my neck. This is what it is. Just having it around my neck all the time and just, you know, right in front of the beard basically. So anyway. But I think this is probably how I'm going to do most of my neck knives in the future. We'll just be having something like that where it's a piece of paracord around the thing. And actually in this case, what I might do is I might actually take this a little bit back further to where it's maybe about here, give or take, and gives me a little bit less. And then that way I can take the whole thing and just pop it in all 4 holes is what it is then. Because I think maybe that's the problem with this not wanting to pull off, is because it's only through 2 holes instead of all 4 holes is what it is then. So But anyway, that being said, I would definitely want to have, if I was going to do any kind of neck knife, I'd want to have something that would be able to stay in place, but also at the same time, I want to be able to pull out easily if it were a situation where I was in a life or death situation. I needed that to be like, a last defense kind of a thing. Now, granted, that being said, why would I ever be in that kind of a situation to begin with? Where I wouldn't, pull a gun or something like that on someone in self-defense instead is beyond me, unless I don't have anything left in my gun is what it is then, and I'm having to go like hand-to-hand knife skill stuff or something with someone, which, may work out for me, may not work out for me is what it is then. But anyway, it is what it is. That being said, like I said earlier, that's about it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this stream. And we'll be back in probably about 15, 20 minutes, give or take. And we'll do a little bit of a political grandstand or something like that on the channel. So, till later. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Stay safe. Always be carrying. And always be ready for any situation that will require you to have a blade on you. And make sure to get a quality blade, because unfortunately, when I started this journey about, 4 to 5 months ago now, I bought a lot of really shit knives that are not great quality. And so many so that I've now had to make a literal case of knives, to where I went to Amazon, I bought a case for knives, for specifically pocket knives is what it is there. And that case is filling up rather quickly is what it is. So anyway, till later. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.